Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
A poor man prayers,
every man bleeds.
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, 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 what's going on? It's your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Today, man, we're going to talk about a few things concerning Minnesota. So much fraud going on, but they're trying to, get people to, it's a distraction, put it like that. All of the fake rioting and the unorganic protests, the paid actors that are out there in Minnesota causing all of this ruckus, it's all a distraction because they don't want people to focus on the fraud that's going on in Minnesota. And Tim Walz is at the head of all of this, man, and the people in his organization. Hold on, before we start. All right. Yeah, man. So it's getting really, really nutty in Minnesota, and now it looks as though Tim Walz wants to cooperate with Trump. Now, after all the rhetoric, after telling people in Minnesota that you're doing a good job for causing damage, or just they're stopping ICE from doing their job. I just had a conversation with somebody at my job last week, and he was talking about ICE, and he basically, the one thing that I understand, bro, is it's so easy to manipulate people, and it's because the average person doesn't have the time, or they just don't care about really what's going on. They follow the news. It's news. It's on TV. It's got to be the truth, and they take it as the gospel. So most people think that the things that they're hearing from CNN, MSNBC about ICE is real, and they don't know that this stuff is fake. It's fake news, and it's bigger than we actually know, and it's coming out, bro. And the one person who is exposing it all is Donald J. Trump, bro. Donald Trump is exposing the global elites. He is exposing all of the fraud within inside of the government. He's exposing USAID and other departments within inside of the government, and he's letting you, the American people, you and I, know the truth about what's going on. And this is the real reason why everybody is so upset with Donald Trump. Most of the people that are out here, they're paid. That's why they're upset. They're faking it. They really don't care about none of this stuff. Most of them either are getting paid or they just want to feel like they're part of something, right? And then you got about 25% of them people who are just clueless, brainwashed, white liberals. Because that's all you see out there. I mean, I don't really want to put a race on it, but that's kind of like what you see out there. You see a lot of white liberals who are, causing all of this shit and calling, like they're going to, bro. This is a fight you're going to lose 10 out of 10 times. So I don't even know why. It's like people are just willing to die, and for what? For illegal immigrants, bro? They're illegal immigrants. It's not as if presidents are saying, nobody can come to this country no more, right? It's just you got to come here legally, like you do in any other country. But that's not even the real reason behind all of this, bro. There's a way bigger picture, and we're gonna get into that with Promethean updates, because she and her channel they go into the more global reach, like the British Empire, and how these other foreign countries have interest in not allowing America and what America does here spread throughout other countries. right? You have other countries who want to continue dictatorship in their countries, and they don't need America prospering and showing other nations that, you know, you can be like us. Y'all can be a capitalist country, y'all can build, y'all can be entrepreneurs, y'all can do whatever you want and have the freedom to do so. They don't want that to spread into these other countries. That's the real reason why you have a lot of this chaos and goofy shit going on, because they want to create a dictatorship here. Not Donald Trump, but the Democratic Party. That's what they want. They want control under one party in a one party system. They don't want, you know, um, this freedom that we have in America to reach other countries. And she'll get into it. But before we get to that, I want to get to a few other stories. So we know Ilhan Omar is on the hot seat right now because of her net worth, her and her husband's net worth, how it shot up from damn near nothing to $30 million in assets in literally a year. And it's a lot of information coming out about this, but we all know uh, that these politicians are frauds. Period. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about also, there's a woman who I believe got arrested who was a part of all of this fraud that was going on in Minnesota. Now she's coming out, and I guess she's becoming a whistleblower. So we'll get into that. And also, this guy, Alex, I think his name is Petty or something like that, who got killed a couple days ago from ICE. And it's kind of like nobody really knows the real story, but this guy had a weapon he lawfully was carrying, but we don't really know the true story. I guess it's an investigation going on with this. But another guy gets killed, and it more than likely is a result of being an agitator, being you know, one of these liberals who are out here thinking that they're fighting for some cause, and it costs you your life. And then we're gonna get to the real nitty gritty of things with LV Nation talking about how Tim Walz actually called Donald Trump, and now he wants to all of a sudden cooperate. And before that, we're gonna end with that. But before that, we're gonna get into Promethean's update, and she's gonna get into this deep dive on what's really going on with this whole Minnesota chaos that's going on. Let's get straight into it.
Can you tell us what your response is to the
All right, we got. Hold on.
Oversight Committee?
Okay, we got. Where? Oh, my bad.
Launching an investigation into your net worth, you and your husband's net worth. They're claiming that it's risen rapidly. What's your response to what they're saying?
I bet you don't got nothing to say.
In their investigation into your net worth?
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar avoiding questions about her net worth that has risen astronomically during her time in Congress. President Trump wants answers. Writing on Truth Social, quote, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is worth over $30 million. There is no way such wealth could have been accumulated legally while being paid the salary of a politician. She should be investigated for financial and political crimes, and that investigation should start now. Saturday Night America.
Yo, this is why they mad, man. This is why they mad. Oh, man. I hate when I do that. Anyway, yo, this is why they mad. He's exposing everything and everyone. It's no picks, bro. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Donald Trump has no picks, bro. Everybody is being exposed for who they truly are. A piece of shit. Ilhan Omar is no different. And it's actually even worse, bro, because we allow a woman, right? Regardless of her religious background, that doesn't matter to me. We let a woman seek refuge in America, right? From her, shitty country, let's be honest. And then she comes here and lives here, and claims that she's an American citizen all the way up until she goes to school, congresswoman, all of this good stuff, right? Makes a very, very, very handsome salary, if I might say so myself. Very handsomely. And then she has the audacity to not only shit on the country who let her come here, but also let her become a politician. And now come to find out she's robbing us right along with the rest of them. So ungrateful.
Kayleigh McEnany joins me now. It is amazing. When she started in 2019, she had a negative net worth. Her personal household net worth has gone from negative to $30 million. And her husband's Rose Lake Capital firm, a consulting firm, has gone from just dollars up to $25 million in value.
Yeah.
Well, this is like impossible, bro. The best of the best. Like, this is like Nancy Pelosi style shit. You know what I'm saying? Because Nancy Pelosi is, trading and all of this stuff, and she is doing better than the best of them. Like the Warren Buffetts, the people who actually do this. So you telling me Ilhan Omar and her husband is so financially literate that they were able to create $30 million in assets within 1 year? Stop.
So what's interesting, you have her husband, Wynette, who started Rose Lake Capital, to your point. So Rose Lake Capital, you noted $42 and then skyrocketed to millions within a year. And these are according to public filings that she put forward, according to documents in a lawsuit.
Her own numbers.
Yes. And it caught the attention of, listen to this, not Trump's FBI, Biden's FBI. So in 2024, Biden's FBI raised questions about this skyrocketing wealth, some of these business decisions, and even Wall Street experts say, why is a former political consultant, that's what Wynette was, running a massive financial firm that, by the way, we've never heard of, and we're on Wall Street and we think we would have heard of it? A lot of questions.
Not to mention they also have a winery that has also experienced a similar, in California, by the way, that has experienced a similar explosion. Real quick, I want to play Tom Emmer, House Majority Whip, talking about this earlier this week.
This needs to be investigated. She was right at the center of the Somali fraudster operation called Feeding Our Future, the $250 million fraud case, largest pandemic fraud case in the country. Those are her people, and they're the ones that donated to her campaign. So Jamie Comer and the Oversight Committee are investigating this and looking into this, and this needs to be exposed.
Tom Emmer is Majority Whip because Republicans control the House. They also control the Senate, and they control the White House. Are they going to get to the bottom of this?
I certainly hope so. And by the way, I just note that winery you mentioned, one of the wines was called the Devil's Lie. How about that? But look, they say House ethics or House oversight.
Sometimes they tell the truth.
Sometimes they do. Yeah. And maybe they don't. We'll see.
And she Muslim. She Muslim selling liquor, bro.
But House ethics or House oversight is going to look into it. But look, it's time. To your point, we have the House now. And I'm hopeful and bullish that maybe Republicans will overperform in the midterms. But that's not a guarantee. So now is the moment for House oversight to look into it, for the FBI to look into it. Kash Patel's been doing a phenomenal job. I have no doubt that they are. But look, the time is ticking, especially for Congress.
Do you get the sense, I feel like Ilhan Omar has, a lot of, she's been out there saying crazy things about the fraud in Minnesota, talking about the ICE agents. All of it sort of makes me wonder if she's not, I don't know. I just get the sense that maybe the walls are closing in on her. Maybe she realizes that a lot of these questions are being raised.
This is her district that she oversees. Yeah. We have all seen the billions of dollars of fraud. We're just now scratching the surface of it all. And I'll tell you, my producer, he's amazing, Jake, has been watching Somali TV all week. So we have all these new clips from Keith Ellison and Jacob Fry. And these elected officials, there's a lot of questions, what they knew, when they knew about it, and why they didn't act.
And when you think about $9 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse,
that's crazy.
In a lot of it touching on programs that Ilhan Omar brought, included in legislation, and brought to her state. And then on top of that, it went to people who were politically connected to her.
That's right. And that's why David Hoke and Nick Shirley bringing light to this and asking the questions and pointing out, what did you know? When did you know about it? I'm hopeful that all of these officials come before Congress. It's great to hear from Nick Shirley and David Hoke, but I want to hear from Fry. I want to hear from Walz. I want to hear from Omar.
Absolutely. Okay, we've reached out to Congresswoman Omar's office for a statement, but we have not gotten a response.
And I bet you won't. Bro, she ain't coming forward at all. And she won't, because she knows she's in it. Listen, bro, when people are innocent, when people are, you know, on the hook for these types of things, but they know they're innocent, they're going to say so. They're not going to, now you can sit there and say from a legal standpoint, you ain't going to speak on it. But listen, you would know. But she was there. We seen her with what it was it, Fiji, what was it? I forget what it was called, but she was there she was, advertising the fraud that was going on. The Feed the Children thing that she was doing. So, bro, she's involved. Tim Walz is involved. All of this goes up to the top, and we're gonna get into that with this next segment.
And a Fox News alert also in Minnesota, the convicted ringleader of one of the state's biggest fraud schemes is speaking to Fox News from behind bars. Now, she believes that the scam was no surprise to local Democratic leaders, and she's naming names. She spoke to Alexis McAdams. Hi, Alexis.
Yo, this right here is like their worst nightmare, too. It's like people that's actually going to jail and is actually speaking with actual facts and things like that. Now, she's saying, I don't know if she's actually going to name people, but
hey, Dana, so everywhere you look in the state of Minnesota, right, there seems to be another fraud scam. So this one involves Amy Bach. She's a Minnesota woman convicted of fraud for taking taxpayer money that was meant to feed hungry kids. But listen to this. Bach tells me the real issue here is the state of Minnesota, which she says kept giving scammers your taxpayer money even after they were flagged as fraudsters.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware, but apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything.
So Bach ran this nonprofit called Feeding.
Oh my God. She hit.
Our Future. You might have heard of it. It was one of dozens convicted in this $250 million scam. You can see her mugshot there. Prosecutors say this group set up sham restaurants. They pretended they were making these meals. They got paid by the state for those meals, but they just pocketed the cash. Bach, who's looking at 30 years behind bars, tells me the state signed off on those businesses, not her.
It all went through a process. They were all approved. They were all paid by the state, yet all the fingers are being pointed at me.
And it's not just.
Oh, so she the fall guy. She's upset. Trust me, she's about to talk. She's about to talk. She's gonna eat really good. Let me tell you that much. She's gonna eat really good, and she's gonna give them everybody and everything. And she should, bro. She should. Because you allow these Somalians to come in here and manipulate and scam and scheme. And the thing was, bro, is that these schemes really aren't elaborate, bro. These people just started nonprofits pretty much. And, listen, when you have connections, like you've seen Tim Walz in pictures with one of the guys. I think actually a few people. We seen him in pictures with them. So he was connected to these people, bro. This stuff, I guarantee you, she is not going to be the only one to come out. Once one does it, they all are going to do it, because they're going to be incentivized to do so, especially when you're talking about 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's trying to do any time. So if I could get, 5-10 years off of my sentence in order to give up the big names like Tim Walz, the mayor, Ilhan Omar. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. It's going to be a lot of arrests going on. But that's the arrest people want to see. People want to see actual, politicians go to jail, bro. Like, and Trump needs to do it. He needs to. I think he wants to do it. I think He's pushing for it. We see him, tweeting about these things all the time. But
whistleblowers told a congressional
hey,
committee
we'll see.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison there ignored warnings for years as millions of dollars and millions were stolen on their watch. Congress is investigating a long list of massive fraud schemes in the state. It's hard to keep up. Prosecutors say it's led to at least $9 billion in fraud, Dana, and counting. Congress also asking why the Attorney General there would meet with a group of Somali fraudsters, which were under FBI investigation in 2021. The group can be heard in an audio clip given to us by Bach's lawyer offering to donate to his campaign if he can help them get their funding flowing again. Ellison denies any wrongdoing here. He slammed Bach in a statement to Fox, calling her a liar, a manipulator, adding now she's on a media tour to deflect her guilt onto others instead of finally taking responsibility for this fraud scheme that she ran. So we reached out to Governor Walz too, Dana. He didn't get back to us. House Republicans say it's just getting started. They want to subpoena Walz and Ellison because they say they're responsible for ripping off American taxpayers.
Dang. Hey, there go one. There go one whistleblower. We're going to see who else. Especially, if I don't think it'll happen, but if they could get one of them Somalians to talk, oh, it's over. Ilhan is done. But that's what they need, bro. They really need to crack down on this shit, man. Because, bro, as a taxpayer myself, I just think it's actually, a slap in the face to all taxpayers, people who out here working hard. The whole system is backwards anyway. I was just speaking on this the other day too. Like, tell me how it's like in America right now, they have really made it to where the more successful you are, the less rewarded, the more you're responsible for others being broke. Because Democrats and Republicans too have made a lot of Americans so dependent on the government. Now all is really, they think about it, bro. How is it right? Right? All of this whole system is backwards. How is it right? I pay every month, every paycheck, right? I think it's every 2 weeks I pay for medical benefits, right? Just like everybody else does. But yet, when I go see the doctor, I still got to pay. You know what I mean? Yeah, I may not be paying the full price or whatever you want, but I'm still paying. I still got to pay a copay. Meanwhile, this guy, he's a bum, a drug addict, and I'm not judging nobody for that. I mean, I've been on drugs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of people that could go to work and live life just like all the rest of us, right? But they're not. They're lazy. They're bums. But they get to go get free everything. Free everything. And it's just crazy. Even with taxes, right? Even if you make a certain amount of money, you end up owing, right? I just think that's crazy, bro. And then, like, the bracket is low as hell. We're talking about like $60,000, bro. You're like considered like, I guess, rich or something. Motherfuckers is broke at $60,000. What the fuck is you talking about? The whole system is rigged. And then on top of that, to see all of the money that we're paying, obviously I'm not in Minnesota, but I'm pretty sure it's happening right where I'm at too, in every other state across the nation. For us to be paying taxes and knowing that your taxpayers are being ripped off by refugees is crazy. I don't care what you say. And then all of these politicians are in on it. You know what I'm saying? But they want to be mad at Donald Trump for exposing it. Make it make sense. Anyway, let's get on to this next story about this guy that just got killed by ICE.
Now to the latest on Saturday's deadly shooting involving federal agents in Minneapolis. Federal and state leaders continue to offer starkly different messages on exactly what happened. Meanwhile, thousands taking part in an anti-ICE march in Minneapolis today, carrying signs showing their support for Alex Preddy. Federal agents shot and killed him while he was taking part in a demonstration yesterday. The Department of Homeland Security maintaining that he charged at agents with a gun. Witnesses continue to dispute that. The Border Patrol commander defending his troops' actions. The governor of Minnesota blaming the White House for the unrest.
The question is, what's the plan, Donald Trump? What is the plan?
This is what they want, bro. This is what they want, man. They need these distractions. They need them. They need all of these distractions to distract everybody from watching what's really going on. This guy's
What do
a
we need to
clown,
do to
bro.
get these federal agents out of our
Straight
state?
clown.
You thought fear, violence, and chaos is what you wanted from us, and you clearly underestimated the people of this state and nation.
Let's think of what those agents were doing on that scene, making a split-second decision. You had 24 hours to try and armchair quarterback things. That agent had a split second to make a decision.
Minnesota Timberwolves holding a moment of silence for Preddy prior to their game tonight against the Warriors.
Oh my God, bro. We're fucked. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's all this, like, it's not obvious to people that this is what they want. This is what they want. They want the chaos. They want people getting killed, and they're gonna make them look like martyrs. Oh, you died for a good cause. Like, nobody should be dying, bro. But at the same time, man, like, this is crazy, right? All right, so this is what I mean, right? The guy that I was speaking with at my job, right? That we was going back and forth about this whole ICE situation. You know that he thought ICE was new. Like, he thought ICE was a new thing under Donald Trump. Like, this is like really how people think. They think that ICE is doing something new because all of these politicians are getting out here saying a bunch of bullshit. Oh, they're wearing plain clothes, they're masked up, they're unidentifiable. Like, bro, first of all, bro, I'm from the hood, bro. I've been in a raid. You know what I'm saying? I didn't had the crib raided. They coming in there, big ass guns, letting you know that they're the police, masked up, everything, big shit. Get the fuck on the ground, before I blow your shit the fuck off. And this is regular police. Like, probably had some little, some other special units in there, right? But this is like regular shit, bro. Seeing police officers jump out on motherfuckers with masks on and big guns and badges is like standard shit that been going on since the fucking 80s, bro. But they want to try to manipulate the people into thinking that they're doing something that's unlawful. It's so unlawful what they're doing. People are crazy, bro. Anyway, let's get into she be breaking. I like this channel right here, right? She be breaking shit down, you know. But she kind of gives you a different perspective on things from a global like point of view on what's really going on and why it's going on. See, we seeing stuff from Fox News and all that stuff, but she kind of is breaking this shit down. She is a good journalist.
What do a shooting in Minneapolis, the Davos smackdown, and a 170-year-old British playbook have in common? They're all part of the same war, and the empire just lost its first line of defense. President Trump's new national defense strategy just ended 80 years of American support for regime change operations abroad. No more color revolutions in other countries, no more democracy promotion. The post-war order isn't dying, it's dead. So what do the British do when they can't run their operations overseas anymore? They bring them home. Now they tell you Minneapolis is about communities fighting back against authoritarian ICE agents. But what you're really seeing is a textbook color revolution, the same tactics Lord Palmerston pioneered 170 years ago to stop the American system from spreading. And the same personnel who ran regime change in Ukraine and Syria are now running operations in the Midwest. I'm Susan Kokinda. I've studied how the British pioneered these methods going back to the 1840s. And understanding that history is going to help you see today's battle for what it really is and what it's going to take to win. So if this is your kind of fight, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay in touch and help us grow. Today, we're going to cover three things. First, Minneapolis as a classic British destabilization operation and the USAID operative caught running it. Second, why the British are suddenly obsessed with Lord Palmerston, the original Color Revolution author. And third, the new national defense strategy as the final nail that forced them to bring the war home. While the media gaslights you about.
Hey, yo, she really be breaking this shit down, bro. Like, cause like we got guys that I fuck with, like LV Nation and Barry Cunningham, Brian Maxwell. They get deep, super deep with shit, right? From right here, like in America type of standpoint, right? She kind of goes, she's telling you about how these foreign countries are the reasons why this stuff is going on. That's why I say it's all. I've always said this, but I'm learning stuff as I go too. But it's obvious. Like there's a bigger agenda going on, right? And what she breaks down in this video makes so much sense when you really look at the totality of everything that's going on here in America.
Out of control ICE agents. Vice President J.D. Vance put his finger squarely on the truth. He said, "This level of engineered chaos is unique to Minneapolis. It is the direct consequence of far-left agitators working with local authorities." Engineered chaos, working with local authorities. Let that sink in. And here's one of those local authorities. Rachel Sayre, the EMS chief in Minneapolis, posted this attack on federal law enforcement.
My background is in international humanitarian response in conflict zones. In Yemen, Haiti, Syria, Iraq, and Ukraine. What I've seen here is what I've seen there. A powerful entity violently and intentionally terrorizing people.
Did you catch that? She just told you exactly who she is. Yemen, Syria, Iraq, Ukraine, pretty much everywhere the empire has run a color revolution, she was involved. And during the Obama administration, she worked for USAID, the very institution that Donald Trump and Marco Rubio just shut down precisely because it was a hotbed of anti-American activity, funding the NGOs that helped flood illegal immigrants into this country. She's not comparing Minneapolis to a war zone to be dramatic. She's telling you that the same class of professionals who manage regime change operations abroad are now running operations in the Midwest. And Minneapolis isn't a random flashpoint. This is ground zero, the origin of George Floyd, BLM, and American Antifa itself.
Hey, yo. When the way she breaking this shit down, it makes so much sense now when you look at everything. And like, she gonna get into some other details that really open this whole thing up, bro. Seriously. Because it would make sense. Like, America is a superpower. It's a superpower, right? Has so much, the biggest military, the biggest influence, the biggest consumer base, everything, right? So it makes sense that other countries who want total control over their country to not want America to have enough influence to, change other countries and to build them up like America. Not saying that there aren't any good countries that don't have that do have, because there is, like the UAE, for instance. I like the UAE, but anyway, let me just let her talk, man.
The first explicitly Antifa group in America was formed in Minneapolis in 1987, explicitly modeled on a British organization and designed to import European destabilization tactics onto American soil. A foreign pathogen introduced 40 years ago, nurtured by globalist money, now fully activated. This is an organic American protest. This is a professional regime change tactic deployed on American soil.
Yeah.
So why Minneapolis? Why now? Because the empire has just lost its primary weapon. In recent weeks, the foreign policy mouthpieces of the Anglo-American establishment have been clutching their pearls about the end of the post-war order. They know the game is up. Just look at Mark Carney, the new anti-Trump voice of the empire, delivering the obituary at Davos this week.
We know the old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. But we believe that from the fracture, we can build something bigger, better, stronger.
But here's where it gets...
It's crazy. So I seen that, right? I watched that Davos joint. Trump was there. And the way she putting shit together, and bro. And then he also had another joint. He had a meeting where he was talking about how China, he did a deal with China. And he's the biggest loser in that deal anyway, because China is going to sell EVs in Canada and they're going to sell like fucking oil or canola oil or some shit in China. But China is about to fuck that whole infrastructure up there. And this dude, that she just showed from Canada is he talked about that, and the guy that was sitting behind him was looking at him like, yo, what the fuck is yo, like, yo, it's definitely some deep shit going on, bro.
Interesting. If you listen closely, the leading British and Commonwealth voices aren't just mourning the post-war order. They're suddenly obsessed with the 19th century. NPR is reporting that Trump's America First is dragging us back to a 19th century world of spheres of influence. And the Council on Foreign Relations warns we're drifting not by accident, but by structural necessity toward a world that looks far less like the liberal universalism of 1945 and more like the balance of power order of the late 19th century. Spheres of influence, managed rivalry, and transactional diplomacy. And then enter Jeremy Corbyn of the British Labour Party. He chimed in.
What we're looking at is almost 19th century imperial powers squabbling over bits and pieces from the rest of the world.
Now ask yourself, what was Britain's greatest fear in the 19th century? That the principles of the American Revolution would spread, that the economics of the American system would create strong, prosperous, sovereign nations, leaving the imperial policies of financial control, backwardness, and depopulation in the dust. Which, by the way, is exactly what Donald Trump is doing today. So how do they want to respond? Pay attention to the Anglosphere commentators. Suddenly, it's all the rage to quote Lord Palmerston. First, it was Lord Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Henry John Temple, Lord Palmerston, one of my great heroes, and I'm using one of my favourite books, the Dictionary of Quotations. He famously said, "We have no eternal allies, and we have no perpetual enemies. Our interests are eternal and perpetual, and those interests it is our duty to follow." This is really important because when you're looking at foreign policy, it is crucial to remember.
Then Canadian Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre referenced Palmerston in the same way as a model for the current transition.
But we must also remember that our trade and security partnership with the U.S. is centuries old and will outlast one president. To quote the British Liberal Prime Minister, Lord Palmerston, "We have no eternal allies and we have no perpetual enemies. Our interests are eternal and perpetual, and those interests it is our duty to follow."
And the British website Unheard lamented that the nation of Lord Palmerston is unable to secure itself a place in an emerging global order. Now, this isn't nostalgia. This is a roadmap. Lord Palmerston dominated British foreign policy from 1809 to 1865 as Secretary of War, Foreign Secretary, and Prime Minister. His mission was simple: destroy any nation or alliance that might follow in the footsteps of the United States and challenge British hegemony.
And we're going to end that with that because that's all you need to know what's going on, bro. They don't want American sovereignty to spread anywhere else. And it makes sense, though. Like, when you really look at it, it really makes sense. Why? Because this isn't just an America thing. This is a global thing, the global elites. And this is why I've always been saying that Donald Trump isn't down with the global elites, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he's making deals and doing things, but he is actually combating the problem that that's been going on for decades now. Like, this is not new shit that's been going on. This has been a mass takeover of America for decades, and Donald Trump came in and spoiled their little plans, and that's why they had and even I remember this guy Dr. Umar even mentioned this on the Breakfast Club. He was talking about how Joe Biden brought in 4 million illegal immigrants. Now it's way more than that. But he even knew and was trying to put it out there that, they're trying to replace Black folks and because he knew he wasn't going to get the black vote. So this is why they needed to get a new voter base in. And this is why this is why it's a whole problem. And now it's an even more bigger problem because Trump is trying to get him out. And because it's a national security risk, it's just unsustainable financially. Is look at the strain that is put on New York City, Chicago, all of these different states, and even the mayors and all of that tell you that they know that it's not affordable, but still they're pushing it. Why? Because it's a whole network of powerful people that are trying to ruin America, bro. This is not by accident. None of this stuff that's going on, bro, is by accident. It's not coincidence. Oh, this just happened to happen at this time. No, all of this stuff is by design, bro. And this is why they can't win against Trump, because Trump knows what's going on. He put a loyal team together that's riding with him, that knows what they all know, the corruption and things that been going on. And he put this team together to go in, bro. And this is why every single thing and every single issue that's came about since Trump has been in office, he's been able to ride right over it with no problem whatsoever, because he already sees it coming. He's already 5 steps ahead of all of these Democrats, bro. Nothing is working. You see them try to shut down the government. They shut down the government the longest ever in history, right? And still didn't get nothing out of it. Nothing. Why? Because Trump, he knows the game. He knows their game plans. They do the same old playbook. It's not working anymore. It's not working anymore. Anyway, let's get into this last story with my guy, Louis from LV Nation.
Okay, so this is breaking news. So you and the FBI and perhaps other intelligence agencies are fully aware of this coordinated effort to attack federal law enforcement, to impede them and potentially insurrect. And so there is now an open investigation into these chats and into this coordinated network.
Yeah, what I can say.
Some of them are fleeing. Some of them are very scared now. You can see their chats. They're very, very worried now that they have been exposed.
Yes, if you're reading the title, yes. Tim Walz just absolutely caved to President Trump, but there's many different reasons for this. And we're about to get down to the bottom of all of this. So just yesterday, there was a Signal chat that was leaked that involved the Minnesota Lieutenant Governor, right? Flanagan. So that is a huge twist to the story, because we got the FBI now investigating the whole Signal gate of course, private chats that leaked information and docs ICE agents, federal agents. And we also got Tim Walz now calling President Trump, basically making a deal to turn over illegals, which should have been done in the first place. Trump made the announcement just yesterday, gave the entire country examples that cities like Memphis and Washington, D.C. have worked with ICE, and you don't see anything happening there. Like anything, no protests or anything at all. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants due for deportation actually being deported. So Trump says he would work now with Tim Walz, and this was the decision to make from the very beginning, from two grown adults. Well, probably just one grown adult by the name of Donald Trump in this situation, because Tim Walz has completely just gone off the rails. But why is he caving now? What has happened? Well, we got the Signal gate, Signal chat, Minnesota Lieutenant Governor, the entire state just yesterday, right? Just yesterday, they took over a hotel. Just yesterday, wow, right? This is the entire takeover of the hotel. As you can see, ICE. And just the day before that, there was a unalive ICE caught on CNN. Like they actually caught it while you were watching CNN. Probably not you, but the people that usually watch CNN, which are people on the middle left or far leftist, they're watching these, these takeovers, and they're watching Kill ICE. They're watching it on their screen. So they're saying, wait a minute, why is someone like Tim Walz?
They even getting so brazen that you seen the white dude that I forget it. He said his name too. I think it was something Kelly or something. I could be wrong though. But anyway, no, I'm wrong. That was the guy that got arrested with the lady that also got arrested too from that church from going them and Don Lemon going into that church. Yeah, Don Lemon needs to be next on that list. But anyway, they even going on social media, even saying about how they need, this is not a game. We're going out here on this date, and they're talking about like basically going to war with ICE, bro. I just find it all hilarious, to be honest, because now all of a sudden people are so mad about ICE now. Like they just love these illegal immigrants in the country. Like listen, bro, it's all fun and games until it's not. Because, people, like look at the Democrats. They never even you know, gave condolences or nothing like that to all of the people who lost their lives, who were unalived, that who were unalived by undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them, right? Didn't even give no condolences or nothing. These people are heartless, bro. But it's all fun and games until it hits at home, right? Until it's one of your family members who are unalived, right? God forbid. I don't wish that on nobody, bro, at all, man. But, these people out here doing all of this for the wrong shit. Like, for the wrong shit, that's my thing. I'm all for, right? Because I think the government is corrupt as shit, right? I fuck with Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump. But at the same time, I understand that the government is a shithole. Just to be honest, bro. They're robbing the shit out of us. And, I see Donald Trump trying to push things in the right direction, so I fuck with it. But I can understand people actually standing up, like, for us not paying taxes anymore. Like, why ain't you fighting for that? Or, like I said the other day with, the so-called new Black Panther movement that they had going on. Like, why aren't you standing up to the drug dealers and the gangbangers and all of these people that's out here sliding on the ops and innocent people and all of the shit that's going on? Like, why you ain't standing up to that? That's my thing. It's like everybody is standing up for the wrong shit, you know? But hey, man, when you're getting paid and you're broke and you're desperate, I guess you'll do anything.
Saying I'm proud of Minnesotans and I'm proud of Minnesota, but the message is very clear that this was a hostile takeover by a lot of these protesters or rioters. So we have a lot to break down here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can keep up with me. Make sure to smash the like button. Thank you for being here. These are my updates on a daily basis. So here it is. So breaking, President Trump says Tim Walz just called him and requested to work together. But why now? Why after two people have been unalived who have been radicalized by your rhetoric? Why now? Well, Walz knows he's in the wrong, so he's caving. Turn over the illegals' walls. Like I told you guys, there's other states like Minnesota that are sanctuary cities or sanctuary states that are overly working with the federal government to get the criminals out. I think
Bro, hold on, bro. But these people are so radicalized that they don't even. The thing is, they don't even. Yes, is Tim Walz rhetoric and stuff like that causing things? Yes, it is. But these people have been brainwashed before Tim Walz. Let's be honest, bro. And we know that because they have already came out and said that they don't even fuck with Tim Walz. They think that he is not even doing enough. So these people are so radical and been so radicalized that they're beyond Tim Walz, bro. These people are done. They're ready to go in the casket, to be honest with you.
Can agree that people who are here, not only illegally, but people who are here that were unvetted and committed crimes inside of the United States of America, like, I think we can all agree, right? That's not a new thing. Most immigrants are actually like, they agree with that the most, more than the white liberals for some reason. So anyways, so this is what Trump says. Trump makes this announcement. He says, Governor Tim Walz called me to request to work together. Isn't that crazy? After all the rhetoric, after all, and I mean like the crazy Gestapo, Trump, Gestapo, Hitler talk, got people in the streets going crazy from that rhetoric. Now he's calling Trump. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. Let's keep reading. So he says he wants to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good
he tried to keep Trump off his ass. That's why.
call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him and that we would be, looking for and all criminals that they have in their possession, which is what should have been done from the very beginning. The governor very respectfully understood that, and I will be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota, and so am I. We have had such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, and virtually every other place that we have touched. And even in Minnesota, crime is way down, but both Governor Walz and I want to make it better. So look, these are grown adults having a conversation, so I don't want to dwell on that. But I do, just for some reason, Tim Walz rubs me the wrong way because he took all this time to basically incite people, to talk crazy, say crazy things, while at the end of the day, this was going to always be the case. You were always going to do this. But now it's like it's just too much has already been exposed, and people they see right through it. This is a man who's not going to run for re-election. This is a
Yeah, and that's because nothing is working. Nothing they're doing is working. So basically now, two people got killed in Minnesota, right? A bunch of damage. You know, you got businesses boarding up and things like that because of all of this stuff that's going on. So the economy in Minnesota is probably shit right now. And they're not making money. People aren't coming out of their homes and stuff like that. And you and they're and mind you, Trump already designated Antifa domestic terrorist group. And there are already people coming out saying they're Antifa, they're in Minnesota, they're going against ICE, and this is, bro. And now this guy wants to come out and act like he wants to work with Donald Trump. And that's because they know they can't beat this guy, bro. They don't have nothing for Trump, but they trying everything. They're trying everything. But more importantly, they don't have the people. They don't have the people on their side. And mind you, you got midterms coming up, and it's looking like the Republicans are going to get the House and the Senate again. And it's because people cannot trust this. People cannot trust these Democrats, bro. And why? Because Donald Trump single-handedly and his administration is exposing all of the fraud, all of the waste, the abuse that's going on with the inside of the government within all of these states, bro, especially these sanctuary cities, these so-called sanctuary states. Yeah, it's just so much going on, bro. And then these motherfuckers, they worrying about re-election. Y'all need to be worrying about not going to jail.
man who, we're talking about Tim Walz here. He's not going to run for re-election because of all the fraud that happened under him, right? And so he kind of knows that TikTok, you know what's going on. So let's actually, again, move on here. So again, I told you guys they took over the hotel. And now we have the Signal chats. The Signal chats is some of the biggest stories.
Hold on. So how do they even have that type of information? And this is the reason why Trump didn't say anything to them when they went and got Maduro, bro. Because come on, you think ICE is posting, yeah, we're going to be at this hotel on this date from this day to this day. Like, bro, they're not doing that. So you got somebody with the inside of the government somewhere in Minnesota leaking this information to these agitators. Yo, bro, you can't make this stuff up, bro. This
So
stuff is
I wanted to
treason,
play
bro. This stuff is treason, bro. The stuff that's going on, and it's crazy because Donald Trump said this stuff, and everybody try to make it seem like Donald Trump was crazy for saying the enemy within. Yes, the enemy within. There's enemies of America within inside of our own government, bro. This ain't a secret.
this clip here. The rioters in Minneapolis have access to license plate databases. This proves state involvement.
That's crazy,
right? Just
See?
yesterday. So it's crazy how all of a sudden Tim Walz is now calling Trump after this. Their Signal chats have elected leaders and exposed money trails from Canada. This proof also maybe foreign involvement.
No, it ain't no allegedly. It's foreign involvement involved for sure. So this whole Signet chat thing, right? I heard about this yesterday. This lady got this whole situation got leaked, and I'm talking about they're saying on the Signal chat, I believe it was on the Signal chat that listen, the jig is up. They talking about like leaving the country type of thing. Like, yo, listen, it's over. They know what's going on. Like, it's over. It's a wrap. And this is what this whole Signal chat thing is about. Is that they've been exposed texting on the signal joint. The same thing. This is the real signal gate, guys. The signal gate that they try to say where uh um Pete Hegseth leaked something on there or something like that. Made a big deal out of it. But let's see what the news has to say about this. We'll try to find some shit tomorrow about this, but guarantee you don't hear nothing
Attack
about it
ICE agents, threaten journalists like
at
James
all.
O'Keefe. Remember that? Remember how they threatened James O'Keefe and Nick Shirley? This proves violence. What's happening in Minnesota is foreign and domestic state-sponsored domestic terror. All right, let's take a listen.
This is domestic terrorism, and it's operating as a low-intensity insurgency.
Not the enemy within.
We've been watching this and just kind of astounded how there's always, these people blowing the whistles wherever ICE is, and they have different undercover vehicles. They try and keep a low profile, and for some reason they keep getting spotted. But James O'Keefe was just up there in Minneapolis and had his life directly threatened. He got a text from a number said, "We know you're in X car with this license plate from Florida. If you don't leave within an hour, you're dead."
Bro, think about that. Think about this. Like, these average Joe people are getting sensitive information about ICE officers. ICE officers are getting doxxed. And it's gotta, that's why they say it's gotta be state involvement, right? Like, to know this. So James O'Keefe, we know him, he has his own channel. He be exposing a lot of politicians and things like that. He be having, I think, women or whoever, they be having people going undercover with cameras on them and be having like sensitive conversations about, the government, shit that just wild stories, bro. Check him out. He definitely got a dope channel.
That is insane. That is not only terrorism, but it's showcasing that they have access to license plate identification. They have access to people's cell phones. They have operatives within the police departments or the state government that are providing them with this private secure data. And that shows that this is a top-down insurgency operation. And we saw yesterday, it was all over X, some great accounts, 0 Hour and Cam Higbee showed the signal chats, right? And so you've got 1,000 people in these chats every day. They have organized emojis to mean certain symbols. They have protocols, they have training manuals, and then they also have financing documents. And there's a great tweet from, I think, Data Republican showing that there's actually foreign funding from Canada, a guy named Unchuffed.
And you have more people than that too, though, because remember a while ago a guy came out and exposed that that he was offered to be paid to be part of I think it was the No Kings protest, one of them protests, that he was offered to be paid. And also, it came out too that that they said that it was specific locations where it would be drop-offs, and it would be like masks, signs, different things, basically weapons and things like that to go. I think I don't know if it was ICE at that time. I forget what it was. It was a while ago. So we know that this stuff is there. It's unorganic. It's not organic, bro. This ain't no grassroots issues. These are paid people that are out here and they're being provided with not only weapons and shit like that now they're being provided with sensitive information. People are getting doxxed. They're getting actual personal cell phone information, license plates, vehicles, probably where people live at and all types of shit, bro. This is like crazy shit that's going on, to be honest with you.
His organization in Canada. So this
wild.
has foreign funding. This has state level involvement. The lieutenant governor was found in there. Multiple state representatives and city councilors were found in those signal chats. That is sedition, Steve. If this stuff is leading to violence, to people's deaths, that's insurrection, that's sedition, that's felony murder. That's conspiracy. There is a whole host of charges that members of Tim Walz's staff and campaign staff are involved with. And it is no surprise that they're
And you're not going to sit here and tell me that Tim Walz isn't involved either.
doing this once their fraud machine was found. It's a pure diversion play. And President Trump has to stay on the offense and take this down, because if he doesn't, and I think he will, But if he doesn't, it will spread to other cities.
Yo, shout out to LV Nation, bro. Always bringing it for sure, man. He be working. I respect him, man. I can't wait to really work full time doing this, man, because I be having some good ideas for content and stuff like that, but it's a little difficult right now. But anyway, we'll get to that. But yo, this stuff is crazy what's going on, bro. God damn. So much being exposed. And it's just, ain't it wild though, that all of this time Donald Trump actually been telling you and I the truth about a lot of this stuff that's been going on, you know, draining the swamp, you know, and also think about this, right? The Epstein story was so big. Oh, Trump, Epstein, Trump is all over the files. Like, do you know you haven't heard anything about Jeffrey Epstein? You haven't heard anything. Now, all of this fraud is being exposed by Nick Shirley and, you know, obviously Trump's administration, all of this stuff going on, referring to the fraud. And now they want you to be distracted. They want you to, bro, it's just mass distractions going on. And that's all they want to do, distract people from the real stories, the real issues, the real problems that's going on. And simultaneously, they're trying to do everything they can to try to make Donald Trump look like a bad president, make him look like he's an author, a tyrant, that he's, you know, he's ruining America, you know, and everything. And this is all they're trying to prove, but they're not proving it because, you know, within a year, Trump then already had gas go down, prices go down. You know, you see the trajectory of the economy and it's going up. We're not going towards a recession. We're actually going in the opposite direction. And who told you that we were projected to be in a recession and that the stock market was going to crash and that inflation was going to be sky high and all of these different things? Democrats told you that. And it was all a lie, bro. It's all a lie. So I don't understand how people believe Democrats and these rhino Republicans, bro. It's getting out of hand, to be honest with you. And hey, man, we don't know what's to come at this point, but all I know is that these people are scared, and they know that their days are numbered. Their days are numbered, and you know, we'll see what happens, bro. But sheesh, man, people out here getting sacrificed, man. That's how I look at it. This guy, Alex Petrie, or whatever his name was, the chick, I don't even know her name. Renee, I think, Renee Good, I think it is. They were just sacrificial lambs. That's all they were. That's all they were, bro. And it was in hopes to, you know, make Donald Trump look like, oh, they're out here killing people. And listen, bro, it's not hard to read between the lines and see what's going on. But yeah, man, that's the show for today, man. If you like the show, please hit that like button. Also, comment down below, share the video if you could. I truly do appreciate it. But more importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Help your boy on the road to 1K subscribers. I can't do it without you. Matter of fact, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button for me. Also, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. This your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Until next time, I'm out. Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again.